Welcome to Paul's Heart. I'm Paul, author of the book Paul's Heart Life as a Dad and a 35-Year Cancer Survivor, available on Amazon. I want to take a moment and talk about ghosting. Ghosting by family and friends. What exactly is ghosting? It's when people just up and disappear. And for those who are going through cancer, to have people that have been by your side seemingly forever, for them to just disappear, take off, hurts. Can even anger. Why? As a cancer patient, you're going through the hardest part. Why is it so tough for family and friends? There's no training in the world of cancer. When you're diagnosed, you're thrown right into that world. And the same thing goes for your family and friends. They have no training on how to deal with someone they care about being told they have cancer. But the difference is, as a cancer patient, we have support all over the place, whether it's through our oncologist, our nurses, our techs, and if we're fortunate enough to deal with any kind of mental support through a social worker or a counselor or a therapist. But our friends and family are on their own. And you have to understand, we know as a cancer patient, cancer's scary. And, depending on your background or history with cancer, all you may ever know about is people with cancer don't stay alive. Not aware of the thousands and thousands and thousands of survivors who live a long time, such as myself. I'm now 38 years out as a cancer survivor. And yes, there are many who are no longer by my side. They bailed a long time ago. And yes, it hurts. Initially, it produced some anger. Going back in the 50s, 60s, and even 70s, people thought cancer was contagious. That was one reason why they took off. I don't want to get it. But in the 80s and the 90s and the turn of the century, we still have that fear of losing someone to cancer. And somehow by disappearing, we seem to avoid that hurt, that fear, until the time comes, if it does, that, the person is no longer with us. And then somehow that hurt for them isn't going to be as bad. The thing is, you have to understand, your friends and your family, as they learn about your news, as they deal with your situation, they're dealing with it on their own. But you have to understand, this isn't your problem. This is their issue. Okay? And you don't need to take on their issues. My dad was estranged. We were estranged when I was going through my cancer. And you would have thought that being diagnosed with cancer would bring us together, and he would want to support me through my battle with cancer. He was not there at all, from beginning to end. It would be several years when we made amends with each other that he admitted to me why he couldn't be by my side or see me going through cancer. He had been lied to about his mother, who was quite ill. And they passed it off as just saying she had gallstones or a gallbladder attack. And it was only after she passed that he learned that she had cancer. But he never forgot the way that she appeared, the way that she looked, the constant pain that she was in. And he wasn't prepared to see his son in that condition. Now, again, yeah, I was the one going through it, but it was his issue. And that's why I want to stress to you, don't make others' thoughts your problem. You've got to stay focused on what you're going through. Okay? I have friends and family that stuck by me all these 38 years. They've been with me from beginning to end. And I have others that I felt really close to who aren't here anymore. And for whatever the reason, I don't know. I've never made it a point to find out. Nothing has changed for me except I've said what I said all along. That I'm going to be here, be a part of my life. I'm going to have some good things happen in my life. Just last week, I got to spend my 60th birthday with my daughters, who are in their 20s, their adult ages. One's going to graduate from college. I couldn't be happier. But there are those that chose not to stick around for whatever reason. And that's on them. You know, your friends, and you expect your family to be there, to be understanding. And that's not always going to be the case. I had members of my family who just didn't have it in them to even talk to me about it. That's normal. Again, they're not trained to be dealt bad news. And whereas I had support where I could talk about my mental struggles, they didn't. I don't hold anything against them for what they chose. And, you know, if your closest family member is a spouse or significant other, hopefully, there's conversation. Because that's how you maintain that relationship. And it does need maintaining during this difficult time. And just as you may need to turn to some sort of support to talk, so might they. And I strongly encourage that. There is no stigma to getting mental health help. Sometimes it's critical. Society still has many of the myths associated with cancer that scare people. And if you're someone who has still never interacted with someone who's had cancer, we need you. We need you to understand what we're going through. We need you to understand that we want to get through this. And we want you to be there when we're done. But we as cancer patients and survivors also need to understand, we know you're scared too. But we're the ones going through this, and we need your help, we need your support. But with or without you, we're going to get it done. So my message is this. If you're dealing with hurt and anger and disappointment with someone who you thought would stand by you during your health battles, and they're not there, don't make that part of your problem, because it isn't your problem. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them. It's completely normal for you. It's completely normal for them. Until next time, this is Paul's Heart.